we're all assembled here. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us at our Star Memorial. I'm very honored and happy to announce that Sharon Cardner-Walker, Reverend Sharon Cardner-Walker, will be joining us to facilitate today's program. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Walker. Thank you, Reverend Walker.
Managed to unmute. Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you very, very much for inviting me to be with you. And I just wanted to say to you that on behalf of the entire Department of Pastoral Care, Spiritual Care here at SUNY Downstate, I greet you in as much love and dedication that we have for you here. I welcome you to this virtual memorial, a time of togetherness, and that's what this is, a time of togetherness where we will reflect, where we will remember, and even celebrate the gifts that we were given in those that we have loved and now have lost. I'm inviting you to engage in this time of togetherness, in this time of being with one another, because each of us, I believe, on this circuit together have experienced some loss, even the same losses. And so I just ask that you would try your best to relax and to engage and to know that we are clear that we are in an unprecedented time of grief and loss and tragedy. But what I also believe is happening today is that we are together for a reason and a purpose. I call it, we're together with the ties that bind. I can't make it without you, and we cannot make it without each other. And so I think although this is a different way of coming together, I'm grateful that we're able to come together in this fashion and allow love and healing virtue to run from me to you and you to another. So by the time we are done with our time together, we will be lifted, hopeful, and in full remembrance that we are not alone. I want us also to just pause for a moment, if you will, and just listen for a moment with a short version of the sacred text that always seems to ground and call us together. The sacred text says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. It goes on to say that there is a time to be born and a time to die, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to laugh, a time to gather and a time to refrain from gathering. We're called to remember this day that we are not alone. We're absolutely not alone. Together, we're going to make it. We're going to come through this, and we're going to be stronger, even more resilient, and filled with love. Pause with me as we just ask the sacred to come and be with us. This is certainly a non-denominational prayer, because I respect every person that's on this line. Whether our faiths are different or the same, whether you believe or not believe, we have a sacred presence that is right here with us. So whatever your prayer posture is, whatever your level of comfort is, I simply want to invite the sacred to come and be with us. So join me. The one who we call many names, magnificent benefactor, Lord and God and weaver of the universe, center, filler, refiner, water, earth, air, mother, father, governor, guide, love, come now. Be with each of us as we sit in this bittersweet moment. Be with us. Allow our hearts and our minds to be steady, Allow us to know that even in the fracture of our hearts, even in the pain that we are experiencing, that your grace and your presence is right here with us. Fill us as we share. Hold us where we need to be held. Allow us to know that we are not alone and that love and grace and mercy and joy will continue to undergird us. It's in your matchless name that I pray and invite your presence now. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so very much. I don't know if I'm to do the welcome, but I want to welcome you again. I want to welcome those of you who are on campus. I want to welcome those of you who are our affiliates from clinic and education and research. And I understand that our Brookdale colleagues are with us. Is Brookdale with us? I understand that our Brookdale colleagues are here. And so I like noises and waves.
Yes, we are. Yes, we're here.
Nice. Thank you, Brookdale. Thank you so very much. And all of the family and friends that really thought it not robbery to just be with us in this sacred time, we thank you. We thank you so very much. I know that I have a couple of ministers on with us, and I'm not sure if their cameras are not able to bring them up, but I bring you greetings also from Minister Jim McCalmon Oxley, who joins us as well from the Department of Pastoral Spiritual Care, and brings you greetings as well. Minister Jim would like me to share with you that it is no strange thing to her that we are each fitly joined together and walking together. She wants us to know that she is with us, we're walking together, and as long as we're walking hand in hand, we each will get through this, as long as we know that we are our brothers and sisters' keeper. And so I thank you, Minister Jim, and all of the other ministers who are on. Thank you for being on with us today. At this time, I believe that we're going to be graced with some incredible remarks. And I'm going to embarrass a few of these doctors just for a moment. But we will now be graced with remarks from a few of our most compassionate, dedicated, distinguished caregivers, and those who I call servant leaders in this part of the vineyard and in this part of the community, to be with us, to speak with us. Dr. DeHovitz, Program Director, will speak to us following Dr. Youssef, Medical Director, and Dr. Yeager, Chief of Service at Brookdale. We welcome you and thank you for all that you have been, all that you are doing, all that you continue to do. You are heroes. You are servant leaders. And if you haven't heard it from anyone else, we appreciate everything that you do, everything that you have done. And we are just grateful that we're in the same company and in the same community. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Walker. Those eloquent words and those tremendous sense of feeling, I think, is a comfort to us all. And we so appreciate having you at Downstate for the good times and the more challenging times. Those of you at STAR program, Brookdale and Downstate, I always enjoy the time we're able to spend together, either in the clinic, at either side, during our all-star breakfasts, or during our holiday parties. Obviously, this year is just so different in many ways. Because of this pandemic, we're here to memorialize our dear ones who have been taken away too soon. And also because of the pandemic, we can't be with each other. In a setting when there's so little constance, I hope that your connection to your colleagues at STAR, at either side or both sides, have provided some solace. In the meantime, we mourn the passing of each loved one, friend or family member, and of course, cherish their memories. As your director, please let me express my deepest condolences to those of you who have suffered these losses, and know that I also and one of those who remember a close friend today. There's so many feelings associated with this loss, particularly as it relates to COVID. Sadness, helplessness, and frankly, anger really come to mind for me. However, I know each of you mourn in different ways. I want to thank you, every one of you, for joining us as we celebrate the lives of those who are no longer with us, and now look to Dr. Youssef to say a few words. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. DeHovitz, and thank you, Reverend Walker, for being here with us today. Good afternoon, my fellow colleagues. Words sometimes seem inadequate to express how much it means to have all of us here together today as we pay our respects to those who have died from COVID or from other causes during this past year. Please accept my condolences to each of you individually if you've experienced losses, as I have as well. It was originally our intention to have this memorial to honor those who have died from COVID, and this week we've reached a very sad milestone during this pandemic. Here in the United States, we had reached 200,000 deaths from COVID. It's now become our third leading cause of death. And while these numbers are staggering, it really goes beyond comprehension. But coming together today virtually, albeit virtually, is even more needed this week. As you all have seen, we are mourning the passing of our Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And for many of us, we are re-mourning the loss of Breonna Taylor and so many others who have died due to racial injustice in our society. Despite all of these challenges that we all have been through, COVID, racial inequity, and everything else that we've had to deal with this year in terms of remote work, remote school, and everything, I have never ceased to be amazed and inspired by my colleagues on this call today. Despite everything everyone has been through, everyone in our clinic has really stepped up and committed themselves and dedicated themselves to the mission of STAR and the mission of ending the epidemic. Many of you had become ill yourselves. Many of you have experienced losses in your families or loved ones, and yet you still remained committed to the clinic. You came to work even after being ill, even after losing family members and friends, you still came in and gave it your all. And for that, I'm forever grateful. There are no words that can adequately express what we've all been through and how much appreciation we have for everyone on our team. But I would like to thank everyone for their compassion, their humanity, and their courage. Thank you for giving us hope, bringing light during these times of uncertainty. You are the true heroes of our clinic. We appreciate you and all your sacrifices. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Yeager.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much, Reverend Walker, Dr. DeHovitz, Dr. Youssef. Everyone's already summed up a lot of what I think we're all feeling. And I really just wanted to briefly give a shout out to recognize, acknowledge the STAR Brookdale staff in particular. As Dr. DeHovitz mentioned, you know, it's sort of unfortunately infrequent enough that we're all able to come together as a large STAR team. And in general, the times when we do are times for celebration, for recognition of all the hard work that everyone has done. And this is really a very different moment in so many ways, both in the way that we're coming together, in the cause that's pulling us all together. But I guess I also just want to emphasize that it also really is a recognition, as Dr. Youssef said, of all the incredible work everyone here has done, that this has been such an unimaginable few months in so many ways. I think none of us could have expected back in January what the arc of this pandemic would look like and continues to look like, and how deeply personal it would become. And layered on top of that, we've had so many crises nationally, financially, in terms of very necessary reckoning with racial justice. And all of these things have been incredibly close to home with the work we all do every day, with a lot of people's families, friends, personal lives. And I really just wanted to add my recognition and my deep gratitude and thanks to the Brookdale staff. There have been such unimaginable losses that the staff has suffered, and the degree to which you've all continued to be present for the patients has really inspired me, impressed me, moved me, And the degree to which you guys have all really been present for each other has been tremendous. And people have continued to show up physically, but also just emotionally, and really been there for each other. And it's been a really moving thing to watch. And I felt really privileged to be a part of the team and to watch as everyone has just soldiered on through the most unimaginable few months. So a huge thank you, and a huge rally of ongoing recognition and support. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I'm grateful that each of you, in terms of physicians and those who are over at Brookdale, that you have stayed the course. It's very easy for us, especially as essential workers, to just begin to crumble and ask why, and even fall into a place of grief and hopelessness. And I'm grateful that each of you stood the test, number one, and your dedication to caring in the manner that you have cared has done more for us than you can ever find adequate words. And I mean that because remember, in the role that I have, I hear from many of those that you see, many of your colleagues, many of those that you serve, and you have no idea the impact that you have made in the lives of so many. So thank you again from the depths of our heart. And it's really good to partner with leaders who lead with heart and hand and head. Thank you to the three of you. Continued blessings and safety. At this time, I would like to see if I could call upon, I believe it is now Christopher Jimenez, Assistant Director for Behavioral Health, who will now share with us a little about grief and its impacts.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Reverend Walker. And
welcome.
Thank you to Star Leadership for letting me be part of this memorial. So obviously the grieving process, it's never easy, but it's even more difficult when you're grieving an unexpected loss. And that's what members of our community have been trying to wrap their head around since March. The important thing to remember about grieving is that it has no limits and everyone grieves differently. If some time has passed, but you still feel like crying, talking about your loss, or like you need some time to reflect on what's happened, that's okay. Those feelings and emotions, they're probably going to be around for a long time. And it's not a sign of your inability to be strong. It's a sign that you're human and that it's going to take a while to get used to the new normal. When it's not okay, and when you feel completely overwhelmed and it seems like it's getting worse, and that's happening on a consistent basis, then the healthiest thing to do is to reach out to somebody you trust and tell them that you need help. If you feel comfortable seeking out help yourself, and you're a downstate employee, Downstate Psychiatry Department is offering support for employees who are experiencing a challenging grieving process. If that's not what you're looking for, you can always try to look up NYC Well on your mobile device. It has a lot of information on mental health services in and around New York City. Or you could try our EAP program, Employee Assistance Program, and they can provide you with some more options regarding mental health services, because when you get to the point where you just feel like every day is becoming too much of a chore, that's when it could get, that's when you could kind of be in the dark a little bit. And that's not healthy. That's not part of the normal grieving process. For those of us who know coworkers, friends who are grieving, now is the time for us to really tap into our empathy and ask how they're feeling. Send a text message, an email, let them know that even though they're hurting, that they truly are not alone. And just as everyone else has said, I want to echo that my condolences to anyone who's lost somebody during this time. And it may not seem like it now, but we will be able to get to the other side of this. And let's just do it together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Christopher. Thank you for all of your work. And thank you for the pearls that you have given to us in terms of grief. There's always this box that we're put into about how we grieve. Grief takes on so many different dimensions. And thank you for giving permission to grieve in the manner in which best suits us. Thank you for all of your work as well. At this time, we're going to ask that Michelle Melendez, Director of Behavioral Health, would speak to us also on the impact of grief and loss on survivors.
Good afternoon, everyone. Although this is a memorial and we're honoring friends and family, those that we love, that we lost due to coronavirus, I thought it was also important to acknowledge those amongst us that survived the coronavirus. Many of you, unfortunately, became ill yourselves, and unfortunately, perhaps brought the illness home to loved ones, whether it's your children, your spouses. So while battling your own illness, you were also in the position of being a caregiver to someone else. So I could imagine how stressful and impactful that was. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of you for your strength, your courage, and your resiliency. We are so grateful for all of you and for all the hope and inspiration that you give the rest of us. Thank you.
Thank you again. Michelle, you know how I feel about you and all the work that you have done, and we have partnered in so many ways. I thank you also for the time you took to talk to so many and to be able to give permission, and that you never forget about what survivors are feeling. Survivors' guilt, all of those things that happen, and you take the time to just remind us, to just walk ahead, really, and to know that we are not only lucky or blessed, but we have purposes, and we often fail to say thank you for reminding us that we're not alone and that we should continue to practice and process and dig for the joys that may simply be delayed, but they will then come again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do as well. Thank you. At this time, we're going to ask for, we're going to have a beautiful video montage, and I believe it is Jose Iorio that's going to come, but I want to preface this by saying to each of us that I've heard these wonderful things about Jose and his work, and I can't wait to just be engaged in this video. But I also want to share with you that it may for many of you unearth some emotions. It may even have some pain. All of those things may happen, but what it does, it reminds us and calls us together, especially at the reality that we are living and walking through and still must be vigilant about. We thank Almighty God, the Creator, for all of the lives and the photographs that we will see. We thank God for those who blessed our lives that we're going to remember by video, and just ask that you would allow yourself to take deep breaths if you can, just for a moment while Jose is preparing. Full breaths, deep breaths. You know, fill up those diaphragms, fill them up for a moment, just fill them up and hold them if you can, and then release. One more time, I want you to fill up if you can, hold, and then just release. Flat-footed so that we can review the video, remember, reflect, laugh, cry, but more than anything else, maintain our togetherness. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you so much. Hello, Brookdale. Hello, Suni. And thank you, Jamila, Michelle, Jessica, Christopher, Jack, and everybody who connected. I did my best the last few days to honor those with a lot of love and work for this video. It's being emotional, but we all had lost a very special one, experienced a couple very close family members as well. And I hope this honors those you love. I'll be sharing this video later today, a longer version of this that has over 3,000 names. This is a shorter version, so I hope you guys can remember those you love and still among us in the best memories.
Thank you. Let us join together in a moment of silence as we remember. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to read to you for just a moment because there's very little comfort that can really be shared. Grief is a process and we must go through it. But I'd like to read to you from an excerpt that someone wrote here as she laid here in this hospital, only to find out that her parents had both died at Brookdale. She was here and she was ill and thought that they would all be better. And she was the only one that was able to go back home. Both mother and father, may they rest in peace, was overtaken. She writes, unexpected death brings no comfort. It tears at our core and it causes several questions. It brings with it uncertainty, pain, and anger. It even brings with it despair. It snatches the rug from right underneath your feet, and it dashes hope. It dashes all of our dreams. It causes us to feel disconnected and filled with more questions than we have answers. It causes us to wonder, what is it all worth when we do everything well and right? Try to live the best lives we know how, and yet we lose anyway. And it's not like we're losing to something that we can see or by some behavior or an incident that we might have perpetuated, but we lose to an invisible enemy, one we cannot see, one we didn't call or one we didn't cause. I feel ambushed. My doctors and my nurses, they stayed. My case manager or social workers and all of the others, they stayed. Yet I felt ambushed and angry. Often my mind wanted to join my parents, but I knew that that wouldn't be right. There must be work for me yet to do. Maybe that's why I'm still here. And now, to the tune of over 200,000, what are we supposed to do? How do we go on? How do we hold one another? How do we fight? Where do we find hope? I ask myself these questions over and over. I'm now in a world where I have no parents. I can only rely on those who took care of me and continue to take care of me. If I could say anything to each of you on this memorial line, I would say to you that the only thing that keeps me is because you continue to go on. The only thing that keeps me is knowing that you won't stop caring for others the way you've cared for me. We may not all believe the same thing, but we're all the same. We're all fighting an invisible enemy. But I believe that we will all come, and we will all come together in victory. Thank you to every caregiver. Thank you for all that you are doing and all that you have done. My life is not the same. Yes, I'm a survivor, like many of you are, but my life is not the same. The aftermath of this invisible enemy has taken my strength, taken my mobility, affected me neurologically, and boy, oh boy, there is a D word that I try not to use, and that word is depression. Depression is a part of my recovery from COVID-19. But I will hold on to the fact that you are still continuing to love and to care. Please find comfort in knowing that you matter. Please find comfort in knowing that those of us that you have cared for will never forget it. Wherever you find yourself, remember that if it had not been for you, there would be no me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm without family, biological family, but I have gained another family. P.S. I'm on the virtual memorial line only by telephone number. Thank you, everyone. Be comforted. She puts JBL. So many of you must know who JBL is. And she says, thank you. Be comforted by the care that you have given to her, by the care that you have given to many, and be comforted that for whatever reason, each of us, our lives were spared. And I believe it's to keep doing what it is we have been called to do, sanctioned to do, and commanded to do, even in this difficult time. Thank you. JBL, I want her to identify, but she won't. She's very shy. Thank you, and I pray that you were able to glean something from what she has had to say. I also ask that you be comforted every day in knowing that what you do and what we do together will never, ever, ever be swept away. Each of you, each of us, each of you, we have given more of ourselves than we care to even talk about. Many of you were here. Many of you had to go home and be afraid. Many of you are continuously walking with patients. Now there is the threat of the flu. And now we have another sense of what will we do? What I want to say to you is what we will do is to continue to be the best human beings that we can be, the best compassionate caregivers that we can be, the best guardians of each other that we can be. When I'm weak, I find my strength in you. And when you become weak, find your strength in another. But know that you are incredible for all that you have been and all that you have done. Remember that you're serving in purpose and you're serving by way of will. Thank you for everything that you continue to do and that we will continue to do together. Thank you. Are we ready to share a little bit? Or are we too emotional? I think we can. I think we can, if you're able to. This gives us an opportunity for open sharing where we would, just about a minute or so, something that you remember, a patient, a friend, a staff person, a family member, you know, something that you want to share that's a lasting memory, a joke, a laugh, a thought. Why don't you share it with us if you can? I know it's still raw, it's just a few months.
Reverend Walker,
Yes.
Rue Rosa would like to share something that she had written herself, and it's quite beautiful. Rue, you have to unmute you. There you go.
Okay, thank you so much. I won't be long. I just have been so inspired while listening to everyone who spoke thus far. And this literally just came to me, and I just want to share it quickly and be right out of the way. I entitled it Loved and Lost. And it says, wealth is not limited to the financial realm, defined only by currency, dollars, and cents. No, wealth includes the gain and the increase, the joy and the brilliance that they represent. Our loved ones have left, but memories remain. We've lost the visible, but love is eternal. We mourn and we weep, we grieve and we pause, yet we persevere with a flame that's internal. We honor the victors. They departed victorious. Their names remain emblazoned in our hearts. As we ponder and consider, reminisce and meditate, we are grateful and thankful for the support of STAR. So my condolences go out to everyone who has been affected, everyone who has, lost loved ones or has experienced COVID-19 themselves. Just know that my thoughts and prayers are with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't want you to miss your opportunity. I want you to share. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I want you to share if you can. Share if you can. Even if you are still feeling somewhat angry, somewhat numb, share that so that we can hold you in our hearts. Please share that.
Hello, everybody. I recently lost my sister-in-law, and that was kind of really bad surprise, especially because she died the day of my brother's birthday, and it was totally unexpected. And it was a lot of pain. Still, it is, but we chose to see the angel among us that she was, and how incredibly happy and a good impact it was for my brother, that he was an inspiration to me. I mean, this media world, thanks to that he was always my astronaut, my leader, and I think how he take this morning with such a beautiful amount of love that is being inspired to me, as well as the opportunity that we have in our day to day. When you were saying, Reverend, that we are here for a purpose. I am grateful for the purpose that we all have and that we got it all together. I'm grateful for the talent that life gave me for be able to honor all of these beautiful, special people to us through this video. And I think the best way to remember is to embrace the pain with love. And that's the most beautiful medicine. And the ingredients that I always add is the gratitude and the gratefulness of being able to experience those incredible times that are fulfilled not just by the pain, by the beautiful memories that it made us grow, that stay with us, and that will not be a way to be erased. And that's the way that I hope you guys find some comfort. That me that I live here, that I don't have family in New York, I feel like I have a extension of my family with all of you, and I feel that's kind of blessings. It's inspiring, and I hope you guys keep feeling that love with the ones that are not physically here and the ones that we still remain. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Still have time.
I'll share something. I think one of the special things or gifts that I think came from this very trying and traumatic time is that, at least for me, and I'm sure other people feel like this too, when many amongst us were sick, I thought it was really nice and it was so beautiful how we were there for each other, that in ways that if we didn't have this horrible situation that perhaps we couldn't have expressed, our love and concern from each other. Lots of times when you think about the workplace, you just think of, oh, this is where I work, these are my colleagues, and that's it, right? Sure, we like each other and we spend time with each other, but you don't really realize, really personally, how much you care about the people that you work with. And I think this tragedy brought that to light, that when many of us were sick, how we were not only checking on them, checking their symptoms, checking on their spouses, how are your kids? And, you know, we just really pulled together as a concerned family. And for me, it brought to light, you know, how much I really care for the people that I work with, and how that really brought us together and enhanced our relationship and our bond that perhaps if this never happened, we would have never experienced. So I think that's a wonderful thing for me, and I think a gift, and was such a wonderful opportunity for us to know each other in a different way.
Thank you. Thank you. Certainly brought closeness. Are there others? I don't want you to be shy. Share.
Yeah, this is Tanya. I raised my hand politely, but I guess.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
I first want to say thank you to what Michelle just said, because that's real. And that's really real for me. As I wasn't able to be there in the clinic or be there in the institution, I literally worried because there wasn't a lot of information being circulated about who was going into the emergency room, who was helping out, who was at risk, who was sick. I didn't have any of this information, but I just want to say that I thought of our entire STAR family all the time, thinking about everyone's health and well-being, and because I really love being a part of the STAR family, and my friendships over the last couple of years have been really important to me. And you're not just my colleagues. I consider most of you guys my friends and people that I really love and cherish. Oh my God. Milo, I did not say that. I know, but Papa's not in charge of that. It's me. Excuse me. Sorry, if I don't step in, it just doesn't get done. While I was worrying about friends and texting my friends who I knew were treating COVID patients, I had a couple of docs that I knew from grad school who were at Brookdale, who were at Kings County, who were in RED. And I'm so grateful that they're okay. One got very sick, actually her entire family got sick. But while that was going on, I was also experiencing loss around me that was really scary and shocking and hurtful. I shared 3 pictures. I lost 3 really good friends, and I lost 5 neighbors. And one of the pictures that I shared, and I should say also, I had the pleasure of actually having very, very nice experiences multiple times with the head nurse at Kings County. And I was really saddened to hear that she left, because she was really cool. I know she's rough on the doctors and the residents, but she was very nice to me. My favorite neighbor, who had the reputation of being the mayor on our block because he was out talking to everybody in front of the bodega. And I remember seeing him and telling him about how important this was and trying to communicate to my neighbors. And so we lost the mayor of our block. I lost a friend that I used to do karaoke with. And I remember the last time I was talking to him, talking about, because karaoke was soon over, never got to go back to karaoke, I remember talking to him about it, and he was full of all kinds of disbeliefs about it ever reaching us. And I remember talking to him. He was just not safe in general, because I've also had lots of conversations about just being safe sexually. And unfortunately, he died. And the third person that I want to highlight is, and for me, this is the hardest loss, I think, because because we don't know where he is, because he lived alone in Manhattan, and he, of course, didn't think that he was not ever coming back, and his family didn't claim his body, and he is buried with the thousands of New Yorkers that were never claimed. And that hurts me every single day. And his friends and I are trying to see what we can do. He was a pioneer and a leader in terms of being a peer advocate for people living and aging with HIV. And he was incredible. Everyone who is in that advocacy work knew of Ed and knew who he was. He was at all the meetings, everything. One of the last things he asked me to do is to come and present my data on the men's sexual health study and aging. And I was so honored to go to GMHC to talk to older men who are living positively about changing health and sexual health. And I think a lot about him and hoping that where he is, even though this isn't where we wanted him to be, that he knows that he wasn't abandoned and forgotten, and that we will somehow find a way to make a space for us to come and acknowledge what an incredible person he was. He was 30 years positive with HIV. And he was a wonderful person. I know that also we don't have a picture of my friend Gordon. He used to work in STAR. But I just want to say that I really, really love Gordon. He was my point person when I came to downstate to help me with all my computer issues. And I found out about him dying a little bit late, but I still just want to acknowledge that he was incredibly special, and he was a friend, even though he was probably annoyed with like some of the little stupid stuff that maybe I had messed up on my computer. But we always talked. We always talked about what was going on in our lives or politics, and he was a really great guy. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so very much for sharing. And if there's any way that we can help you to bring together and bridge some form of closure via the Department of Pastoral Care here at SUNY Downstate, there are some contacts that we may have in terms of being able to locate and find and officially memorialize. Please do not hesitate. There are also places that we can help to have some funds so that he may be able to be exhumed and buried elsewhere. But there's some nuances. So please, okay? Michelle Melendez knows how to find me and Dr. Youssef, and let's try to do it together because we're fitly joined together. What is your pain is my pain, our pain together. So let's hold hands and walk together in what it is that we need to do so that we can find rest for our hearts. Okay? You can find you can find us and want to walk with you. Thank you so much for sharing from your heart. Thank you. Are there others who desire to share? We have time for just about a couple more. If you,
Eileen, Jesse.
Hi.
Eileen, Jesse, are you
Dr.
there?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say that I don't know if anyone like myself, having worked through the pandemic, found myself feeling very anxious when I had to go anywhere outside of my home to the hospital. If I had to go to the dentist, I was afraid to get on the train. I began to hyperventilate, and I was like, well, you know, you don't know where you're going. And so, and then dealing with patients and families all day who had died from COVID, you know, at the end of the day, I just found myself like so wound up until it was so difficult for me to sleep many nights. The only thing that brought me any solace was the fact that I was coming back the next day to do it all over again, to help people who had no help. I remember talking to a young lady who was 20 years old. She lost both of her parents to COVID, and she said, Miss Jessie, just tell me what to do. I just don't know what to do. I'm 20 years old. I have no help. And so it was things like that that helped me to keep coming back in spite of my anxiety. So I just, you know, again, want to encourage all of us that feel like we weren't any help, or maybe we didn't help enough, that if we helped one person, then we did a good thing.
Thank you. Thank you. And how many of us felt that way? The only way we would find solace is to come on back and do it again. That's what I mean by purpose. We have been assigned, we have a great assignment, and that is to serve and lead all at the same time. Have tissue in one pocket and the remedies for comfort in another. Thank you very, very much. Is there another one or two that desires to share? You can. Remember now, it doesn't have to be a joy-filled story, because this is pain. I just want to know where you are, how you're walking through this horrific time, and maybe what you've been doing to help you to keep both feet planted or not, and what you need from us. Anyone? I know it's difficult.
I just want to say that it's been pretty difficult for me. I haven't really expressed my feelings to anyone, but from March through May, we lost 3 members of our extended family. My great uncle, actually 3 of his kids died, 2 of his sons and his daughter, who was a retired nurse. And during that period of time, no family members, we couldn't attend any funerals or anything like that. So that was the difficult part of it, not being able to pay your respects to them. And it was difficult for me, and I kind of kept it to myself. I didn't say anything to anyone, even though I should have. I tried to deal with it. And during that time, I actually took comfort, or I got some, I get it, my inspiration, because during that time also, our 2 nurses in the clinic, or nursing team, they also got sick with COVID, and they were out. And they came back, and they're still here. And that, when I thought about what they went through, and I said to myself, you know, I mean, that really kind of inspired me to keep going and keep doing what I'm doing on a daily basis, coming to the clinic and giving all to our patients here. And so, my advice to anyone is that if you're going through stuff, it's important to really to say or to talk to someone. Like Chris said, it's okay to grieve, but you also have to talk to someone, talk to a professional, and that's something that I didn't do. But and I didn't express this to the nursing team that what they went through and how they respond after they came back after they got COVID. That actually did inspire me to go on and to carry on and be strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. I know it's not easy because here we are in the midst. We're just a few months in, 6, 7 months in, and it's difficult. And daily, the numbers just seem to be climbing. I shudder to look tonight at where we are, well over 200,000. And it is hard. It's very, very hard. But I agree with you. Let's share. Pick up the telephone. Talk to someone. The other piece that we can do is to look directly in one another's eyes, because many of us aren't outright comfortable sharing. But I know that because we are brothers and sisters, I know that because we care for one another, if we dare to take an extra second and look into the eyes of our colleagues that have worked with us, they don't have to say very much. We all know that the eyes is the window to the soul. And just pause and take a look in your brothers and sisters' eyes, and you will know exactly where we all are. Sometimes words escape us, but pain that's in the eye says, help me, check in on me. Let's do that for one another. I know we wear masks and we can't quite see, and it's covered up many of our sadnesses. You surely can't see our faces, but you can see the eyes. Look in the eyes, and you'll know. Offer words of encouragement. I see you. I see your eyes. I'm with you. That's all people need. I see you. Do you remember us yesterday? I see you. I see you. And I want to walk with you. Thank you, everyone. What I want to do as our time is escaping us a little bit, and if it's okay with Dr. Yusuf, what I want to do is to just kind of guide you into a condensed version of a petal ceremony. Does everyone have a petal of some sort from a flower? I see some flowers there. I see some beautiful flowers in the back. Everyone have a flower or just a petal? Do you have a petal? Do you have a? I have a bowl. I have a bowl. If you can just kind of grab a petal, go and grab one out of that vase that you have. It doesn't even have to be a live petal. I just want you to just hold it in your hand. I'm going to give you a moment or so. Beautiful, beautiful. Just grab a petal. One of the most, and I'm waiting, I'll just speak for a few minutes, one of the most loving and delicate of all creation is flowers and plants. And that's who our loved ones and our colleagues and our friends have meant to us. We have lost loving and delicate people. We have lost people that we still can't seem to find rest about in our hearts. But one of the things that's going to move us forward is if we decide together that we are not going to say goodbye, because goodbye is forever. We're not going to say goodbye because we want to hold on to the delicacy. We want to hold on to their fragrance. We want to hold on to who they have been to us. And so I just want you to hold your petal in your hand. And if you have a photograph of your loved one that you have lost, I want you to just hold your petal. Just kind of take your petal and hold it in your hand. I'm holding probably 36 petals. In my congregation, I have lost 36 of my seniors. 36. They have loved me and I have loved them. I have some survivor's guilt, to be honest with you. But I tell myself that I'm here for a reason, and it's to serve more. Our loved ones are yet delicate in our hearts. Petals, flowers fade. The very fragrance that we have from those who we love will always remain with us. Though the flower may fade, and their existence with us is no more. Like a delicate flower, they will live in our hearts. You will be able to, if you allow yourself, you will be able to pick any flower, and if you dare to put your nose to it, you will smell them, and they will be with you forever. So what I want you to do is to remember that flowers spring up again. They will always remain, though they will fall. And as you see, they fall from stems. They fall to the ground. And they seem to be no more, but they will spring up again. Find your photograph, take your petal, and then I want you to lay your petal next to the photograph of your loved one, or the name of your loved one if you don't have a photograph, the name of your colleagues, the name of your friend. We're not saying goodbye. We're saying farewell. Take your rest. Farewell. Take your rest. Allow your fragrance to always be with me, for you will always be in my heart. Lift your petal, if you can, and place it next to the photograph, next to the name, and don't speak goodbye. Farewell. Farewell. Farewell means, for those of us who believe that we will see each other again, farewell until we meet again. Farewell until I dream of you again. Farewell until the budding happens again this spring. Farewell for now until we meet again. If you loose them and you let them go, they will take their rest and they will inhabit places in your heart and in your memories that no one can replace. Please, place your petal. It's healing. Just lay your petal. You will know what it means. And it is farewell. And if you have done that, and there's a lump in your throat, you are absolutely where you need to be. Because farewells are not easy, but they are necessary so that we can go on and do that which we have been called to do. And that is to continue to serve with every fiber of our being. Farewell until the next time. And if you would further indulge me into saying to you that each of these people that we have lost, they're free. They're gone from this earth. They've left pain in our hearts and sting. There's a sting within us, but they are indeed free. And I believe that they wouldn't want us to grieve. I believe that they wouldn't want us to crumble or to fold. And so hear from them through these words. Please, my friends, my colleagues, my family, my nurses, my doctors, my behavioral specialists, all of you, don't grieve for me, for I am indeed free. I'm following the path that was laid for me. What I did was take the presence of a hand that heard me call in distress. I turned around and I had to leave it all. I really couldn't stay another day to laugh, to love, to work, or even to play. My tasks that were left undone, they simply must stay that way. But please know that I found the peace that I've been looking for. And if my parting has left a void in you, then please fill it with remembrances and with joys. Please remember it with a laugh or a kiss. These things, believe me, I too will miss. But what I wish for you who remain is sunshine and the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, believe it or not. I savored much, good friends, good times, and lovely touches. Perhaps my time did seem all too brief to you, but please don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and find peace. I had to go, so set me free. I will love you, and I ask that you would continue to love me. Serve, live, love, and laugh. Blessings to each of you.
Amen.
Leave those petals. Blessings to each of you. Live, love, laugh. God bless you. Thank you to every person on this line. Thank you for our togetherness. Thank you for our unity. Thank you for our camaraderie. But set them free so that we too can be set free to continue our work and our walk. Blessings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Walker, for being with us today and bringing us together and walking us through those beautiful words and ceremony. And thank you all for everything you do, and thank you for coming together today. Does anyone have anything else they would like to say before we depart?
Just want to say thank you to everybody for coming and for these heartfelt remarks. What a lovely way to remember those who you care about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.